welcome Jess Ekstrom.
All right, how we doing? Ooh, this is a step. Woo! How's it going? Good. Are you guys excited to be here? I'm super excited to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me. All right, there we go. So my name is Jess. I'm from North Carolina. I saw on the board, are you from North Carolina? Nice. How about North Carolina? How about South Carolina? Cool. East Coast? West Coast? Middle? The United States? Nice. Well, a little bit about me before we get started. My name is Jess. I play in a kickball league. Has anyone ever played kickball? Yeah? Okay. I'm the pitcher. I'm actually really good at it. And I was actually in Girls on the Run, which you guys will hear about today too. And has anyone in here done Girls on the Run? So I was in one of the first ever Girls on the Run groups when they started. So it's a really cool organization. And let's see what else. I can't really cook. Can anyone in here cook? Has anyone here ever tried to make pancakes before? So I will try to make a pancake, a cute little bunny pancake. Looks something like this with Easter coming up. I'm like, you know what? This looks easy enough. I can do this. And then it turns out looking something like this. But the thing is, one of the things that I've realized is the more pancakes that I make, the greater my chances are that I'll make a good one. So if I just keep trying, the greater my chances are that I'll finally make a good pancake. So I like to call this throwing darts. Has anyone here ever thrown darts before to the dartboard? Okay. Has anyone here ever hit a bullseye? I've never hit a bullseye. Wow, you guys are really good at throwing darts. But the more darts you throw, the greater your chances are that something will stick. So when I was around your age, I was in middle school, I had this idea. I was reading these Chicken Soup for the Soul books, and I had this moment where I was like, you know what? These are real people in these books. Real people can submit stories to Chicken Soup for the Soul and get published in them. And that was, I had to do it. I'm like, this is what I need to do. I need to be in Chicken Soup for the Soul. And that was the first time I set my sights on something. So every day in 6th grade, I would channel my inner writer, and I would submit poems and short stories to Chicken Soup for the Soul. I probably submitted, over a few months, about 100 poems. I was just throwing darts. And one day, I got a letter at home. Does anyone want to guess who it was from? Chicken Soup. Thank you for believing in me. It was from Chicken Soup for the Soul. And I was going to be in their teenage edition book. And being 12 years old at the time and being called a teenager was awesome. And I got $75. Right? And I was like, at that point I could retire probably. So I remember walking into middle school the next day, I was like, you guys, I don't really want to make this a big deal, but I'm going to be at Chicken Soup for the Soul. I got on the morning announcements. I got in the local paper. I mean, it was a pretty big deal back then. But one thing that I learned was it wasn't about how many poems I didn't get. All I needed was that one dart that hit. And so sometimes that means we need to just keep throwing darts, even if it doesn't work out. And so that's exactly what I did when I got to college. I'm just gonna keep throwing darts, see what happens. I was signing up for clubs, different organizations, just saying yes to different opportunities. And you wanna know one of the first darts that hit?
What?
Disney World. Has anyone in here ever been to Disney World before? I had a feeling. So when I was there as an intern in Disney World my freshman year of college. So I was a photo pass photographer. So if you've ever been to Disney World and there's those people with cameras around the parks, you know what I'm talking about, and they want to take your picture all the time and they're wearing the safari outfits, that was me. And I absolutely loved my job. I got to take pictures from kids all over the world, and I got to meet all the characters, and it was so much fun. I worked in Magic Kingdom, in Hollywood studios. So I got to take pictures with Tower of Terror and the castle. But my favorite thing that I got to do was I got to photograph kids that were there on their wish through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So Make-A-Wish, you know what Make-A-Wish is? Cool. Make-A-Wish grants wishes to kids with life-threatening illnesses. I'm gonna come down here so I can see you guys. So anyone who would have a wish, they could tell them what they wanted. And so Disney World was the most popular wish among Make-A-Wish kids. So I got to photograph them like meeting the princesses or seeing the castle for the first time, and it was the coolest part of my day was working with them. So I got back to school my sophomore year, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna keep throwing darts, and I'm gonna intern at Make-A-Wish, just like I did in Disney World. So I would call all these different Make-A-Wish offices until one of them would finally call me back, and I decided that I was gonna intern at Make-A-Wish. And when I was there, you know, I wasn't really doing the most fun things. I wasn't organizing these huge parties or, you know, calling Taylor Swift or something. I was doing a lot of like behind the scenes work. I was cleaning closets, I was making coffee, you know, I was cold calling people for money, for donations. And so on paper, what I was doing, it might not look like the most fun job, but it was the first time in my life where it didn't matter what I was doing in that moment, because I knew why I was doing it. Every single thing I did, I knew was helping make a wish come true. And so it was towards the end of my internship before I had to go back to school, and I had assigned a wish child to me for the summer. So her name was Renee, and she was 4 years old. She wanted to go to Disney World to meet Sleeping Beauty, and I was involved in all different areas of her wish. I got to throw a going away party for her that was princess themed with all of her friends. I was working with Disney World to make sure Sleeping Beauty was there for all the different meals that they were gonna have. And she had a final doctor's visit before she was gonna go to Disney World. And she'd had a brain tumor, and she'd been doing this new treatment that they thought had been working. And unfortunately, a week before her trip, when she had this doctor's visit, they realized that they were wrong and that it hadn't been working, and that her tumor that she had only grown. And so they said that she was too sick to go on her wish. We were in North Carolina, so she couldn't fly and she couldn't drive, and so she couldn't go. And I remember hearing this happening and thinking, you know, maybe I can't control this experience, because we can't control everything that happens to us every day. We can't control the weather. Sometimes we can't control what happens at school or our friends. But we can control the meaning that we give to it and how we respond. So, you know, I can't control what's happening right now with Renee, but I can write the story. So I went onto Google and I looked up local costume shops, and I found a Sleeping Beauty costume, and then I arrived on her doorstep dressed as Sleeping Beauty and made her wish come true that day. And I brought her a matching dress and a crown that said Princess Renee, and read her the story of Sleeping Beauty. And I spent the whole day with her and her family as Sleeping Beauty. And it was a moment in my life where it really changed the way that I thought about the world and my position in it. And although it was really hard, you know, it's sad sometimes working with kids with illnesses, or it's sad working for a cause that doesn't always have a happy ending. But hard times can be the excuse as to why we do less, or they can be the reason as to why we do more. It's okay to be sad, and it's okay to be upset about something. It's okay to be frustrated. But the bigger question is what are you going to do about it? Is it going to be an excuse to hide, or are you going to use that hard moment as, how can I fix this? What could be done better? I like to call it inspiration from frustration. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Yeah. Thank you. So next time you're frustrated about something, instead of just being frustrated, what can I do to make this better? One of the things I'd realized that girls like Renee, who would lose their hair to chemotherapy, loved to wear headbands. I see so many headbands in here today. Who loves headbands? Yes. So they love to wear headbands because they can feel good about themselves instead of wearing wigs or hats that cover up their heads. So I said, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if there was something out there that gave headbands to kids with cancer? Wouldn't that be awesome? Something that they could feel good about themselves? So I looked it up. I looked all around. I said, who's doing this? How can I find a way to give headbands to kids with cancer? And I couldn't find anything. Nothing out there was doing that. And so I thought, why not me? What, maybe I can be the one to do this. Have you guys heard the term entrepreneurship before? Yeah? Sometimes it sounds kind of scary. It has a lot of syllables, it's a long word, there's a lot of things surrounding it, but at its core, the real meaning of entrepreneurship is create what you wish existed. Create what you wish existed, because that was what I wish existed in that moment. I wanted a way to give headbands to kids with cancer, and I couldn't find any. And that's what makes you an entrepreneur, is when you want something, or when you see a need, and you decide that you are the one that can fill it. Because it can be any of us. So that's what I did. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna create a company called Headbands of Hope. I was 19, and I said, I'm gonna make this business. For every headband we sell, we're gonna donate a headband to a child with cancer. That's gonna be it. So I was a student at the time, I was in school, and I decided to use all these different areas of my school to help me create this business. So I walked over to the business school, had them help me create a business plan. I walked over to the graphic design school and had them help me create a logo. I walked over to computer design school, helped me create a website. So starting a business while you're in school is never a barrier for you, it's a propeller. There's so many things right at your fingertips, teachers, students, people that can help you with your ideas. So the last thing I had to do was I had to find someone who could make the headbands. I had to find a factory that could make them. So I found this website with all of these factories, and I started emailing them, calling them, thinking that maybe someone could help me make these headbands. Finally, I was just throwing darts. I wasn't hearing a lot back from people, but I just kept going. Finally, someone emailed me back, and they said, we'd love to get on a call with you. We think we can do this. I said, great. So I get on a call with them, tell them about this idea of headbands for kids with cancer. I'm like, can you guys make these headbands for me? They said, yes. So I was sold. I was so excited that someone was finally talking to me and could make these headbands. So they shipped me over some samples. So samples like early designs that you can see if you like, you give them feedback. For 2 months, they were shipping me samples. I'd give them feedback. Oh, I like this. I want to add that. Finally, they sent me a headband that I was good to go with. So then they sent me over the bill to pay them to make these headbands. And it was for $10,000. What? I know, right? That's what I said. That's what I said. And I was like, this is crazy. This is about $9,500 more than what I have in my bank account right now. I can't pay this. So I started looking all around. I'm like, okay, what do I have? What can I do? I was like, maybe I can get a loan from the bank, and they can lend me the money, but I pay them more money to use it. Or maybe I can get what's called an investor, where someone gives you money, but then they own a part of your company. So I was talking to my dad about it. My dad's also an entrepreneur. And he said, look, I believe in your idea. I think this is going to be big. I don't want you to give away a percentage of your business too early. So I will help you with the loan. I will pay for this production, and then you can pay me back when the business starts to make money. That was amazing. I was so excited that he finally, that he believed in this idea that I had, that he was willing to help me pay for it. So it was a Friday afternoon, and I ran to the bank to send the manufacturer, this factory, the money, the $10,000 that my dad had loaned me to start this business. And I sent it over to them, and I never heard from them again. Yeah. I felt, I'm like, sometimes when you have an idea and you want to do something big, sometimes there's that little voice in your head that tells you, Maybe I can't. Maybe I'm not qualified. I'm like, that voice was louder than ever. I thought, this was my one chance. I blew it. But then I was thinking, when we have an idea, we plug it into our internal GPS. Do you guys ever use GPS? Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. So you know what I'm talking about. So you put it in, just like you would put in a destination on a map. You put it into your head and it says, okay, this is the way that you're gonna go if you wanna be this when you grow up, if you wanna go to this school, or if you have this dream. This is how you're supposed to get there. It tells you this one way that maybe has always been done. But sometimes that one way doesn't work. So what does that mean when that one way that you put in your head isn't working? Does that mean that it's over? No. Try again in a different way. Because there will always be a way to get to where you want to go if you believe in that end destination enough. That is the key to just being resilient. And I started thinking to myself, if I'm starting a business that is about solving a problem, I don't want the failure of that business. It's not about the embarrassment of failure. It's about not solving this problem that I set out to do. And failures are not something that we should take personally. Failures are proof that you're trying. Because you can't fail when you're sitting in the safety of your own home or on the couch or playing video games. You fail when you're going and pushing and doing something big. But that's okay. I have failed so many more times after this. Trust me, the list is very, very long. So when you want to do something, when you have an idea and something doesn't work out, that doesn't mean that you're not qualified or doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it. It just means that you're going for it. I'll tell you an example. Now that we have been, after this $10,000, I got a $300 grant from my school, bought 2 SKUs of headbands, 2 different styles of headbands from some supplier in North Dakota who let me buy very low minimums. And now we've been in all of these different magazines, places. We have Kelsey Ballerini who wears our headbands, Lauren Conrad, Leah Michelle, Lily Reinhart from Riverdale. Even the Kardashians wear our headbands. We have so many people that are wearing our headbands now. We're even going to be sold in Justice stores, which is amazing. But sometimes I think about the impact that we never would have had if I let that one woman stand in my way, that one factory that took that money. Because today, we do headband events at different hospitals around the world. We have a DIY headband day where the kids can actually design and create their own headbands. We host proms at Children's Hospital, and we've donated headbands to every single children's hospital in America in 15 countries now. And I paid my dad back, so that was a big part of it. But I want to tell you a story about some of my friends who have also built things that had a rocky start. My friend Laura, she studied abroad in a different country, and where she studied abroad, it was really normal to eat bugs. Have any of you ever eaten a bug before? Yeah? What did you eat? What did you eat? Sour cream and onion cricket? That's crazy. What did you eat? Ant lollipop. You guys are crazy. So you're gonna like this. So she decided, I'm gonna make a chip made of ground cricket powder. Call them chirps. Would anyone try it? Yeah? Barbecue flavor is really good. So she needed money to get her idea started because she needed to produce them. So she got connected with this environmental investor. Remember, an investor is someone who gives you money for your idea in exchange for a percentage of your business. And she gives her pitch, wearing her bug costume that you see right there. And at the end of it, she holds out a silver platter with her chirps, and she says, "Bug appetit?" And he said, "Laura, I've been an investor for 15 years, and this is the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. But what happens when the one way doesn't work? Try another way. You take a new route, exactly. And now she took a new route, and her chirps are sold in Disney World parks. And she was just on the show Shark Tank. So she worked it out. And has anyone ever had Ben & Jerry's ice cream before? Yeah? I love Ben & Jerry's. So, Ben & Jerry's got started by two guys. Does anyone want to guess what their names were? Oh my gosh, you guys are so smart. So Ben & Jerry's, they decided they were going to take an ice cream making course. They took a $5 ice cream making course, started making ice cream with chunks in it. Jerry was trying to get into med school, couldn't get into med school, so he had all this chemistry that he had studied, so he used that to make ice cream. Then they renovated a gas station in Vermont and started selling their Ben & Jerry's ice cream. One day, they realized, hey, we're selling all this ice cream, but we're not making any money. So they closed their doors, and they put a yellow sign on the door that you see right there that says, we're closed because we have no idea what we're doing. Ben & Jerry's, and now you see them everywhere. They tried another way. Because when you try, failure, even if you mess up, will always feel better than regret. Do you ever have a moment in your life where you're like, I wish I had. I wish I had tried out for the volleyball team. Or maybe I wish I would have put myself out there. Failure, when you go for it, it doesn't work out, will always feel better than that feeling of I wish that I had. So even when you go for it, even if it doesn't work out, that's okay. It means that you're putting yourself out there. It means that you're trying. And now, looking back, Headbands of Hope has been in business for 7 years now. I keep this file on my computer, and I put all the pictures that we get from all the hospitals, all the letters I get from the parents and the hospital workers and child life specialists, and I keep it on my computer. And I think, if I had let that one failure, that one mistake, take away all of this, how bad would that be? If we let people, or if we let our fears get in the way of what we are destined to do. Because sometimes we talk about purpose. Have you guys heard the term purpose before? Yeah? Sometimes that's just a big word. What is our purpose in our life? I want you to think about, what do you love to do? What do you love to do? Anyone? What do you love to do? Yeah. Cheerleading. Make bows. What do you love to do? Soccer and be with family. What do you love to do? Learning about science. Okay, and then I'm going to ask you guys another question. What do you like to do for others? Yeah. Film videos to make them inspired. That's awesome. What about you? Help people when they're feeling discouraged. What about you? Help people that don't always get to have food in Africa. That's amazing. What about you? Help kids in need. So these are all great. So I want you to think about what you love to do, and then what you love to do for others. And then find a way for those to meet in the middle. And that is your purpose. So maybe you love cheerleading. Maybe you can cheer for people who need it, who need that extra push. Maybe, does anyone in here love animals? Yeah, so maybe if you love animals, you can volunteer at a shelter where animals need help. Or maybe you love making crafts. Does anyone love making crafts? Maybe you can make crafts and drop them off at children's hospitals or nursing centers. Whatever it is that you love to do, find a way to do it in a way that gives back to others. That overlap, that middle part is your purpose. That is your purpose. Have you ever been asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah? I'm sure you get that question a lot. I'm going to ask you a different question. Let's stop thinking about what we want to be when we grow up, the title, the position, maybe the business that we want to work for. What impact do you want to have on the world? What mark do you want to leave? And then find a position or create a job that can help you do that. So instead of thinking as our careers and what we want to be when we grow up, what do we want to do and why do we want to do it? What is important to us? Because having a career is great, but having a career that you care about and waking up and doing something that matters will help you live a life that is so fulfilled that you know you're doing something that is helping others. So as you guys are here today and as you guys are going through these workshops and thinking about it and writing in your journals, instead of thinking about what do I want to be when I grow up, think about what mark do I want to have and how can I do that right now? Because you are never too young, ever, to start what you believe in. And every great movement, every big change, everything great that has ever happened has started with the belief that there could be better. But more importantly, it starts with you. Thank you guys so much for having me. You guys have been awesome. Appreciate it.